Hello and welcome to Wildcat Week. I'm Roger Alcock. The IW football team is back in action. The Wildcats came out strong last Saturday and beat St. Francis out of Illinois 35-34 after a week off. Well, here to help us break down some of that action is the head coach of the Wildcats, Coach Jordan Langs. And Coach, I know you said many times that everything in a season is new. Mm-hmm. And this was a new thing because it was homecoming. So you had the big crowd, had the beautiful weather, a little windy, but the wind was I think probably obviously the most important thing.
Yeah, and well, the heat too. I mean, we had practiced in like 65-degree weather for most of the week, and it was beautiful. And all of a sudden on Saturday, you got to come out and play. You know, our defense played 80 snaps, and our offense played close to 60 in 85-degree weather. And I think that, you know, we worked really hard in our nutrition and our hydration throughout the week, especially at the end of the week. And I think it helped ward some of it off, but ultimately we had to rely a lot on our depth that day.
Probably in every respect of the term, this was the biggest team win you guys have had in this first year of the program, because even though defense gave up a lot of yards, they had to get some big stops at times. The offense scored, special teams did their job. Certainly it took a team effort.
Yeah, and we talked about that. We knew it was going to have to be a team win. I mean, that is a very good program. Their losses are the top 25 teams and Division I teams, and I think that we knew it was going to take a great team effort, and we did that. Special teams played phenomenally. Offensive played phenomenal, and then defensively we got on track in the second half and came up with a big win to really kind of set the course for our program's history. Getting a win like this in your first year of playing regular season football against a really established program.
One of the things that stood out to me is, I know you and Coach Terrazas said before the game, we have to be committed to running the football. And you did that. I mean, you stayed with the running game. Devadny offer gave you a huge game, but I thought the run game was huge.
Yeah, I think so, because it was our first time getting back to just a really high-level defensive front, and they gave us some messy looks, and that they had Coach Terrazas, Coach Moore had a great plan. The offensive line blocked extremely well. And then when you have a guy like Devadny who's able to get you a little bit extra with just his God-given ability, that really made us, I think that gave a lot of people confidence throughout every single phase. And when you can come out and run the ball against a really good team, everything else feels like you're capable of doing. So that was a big important piece.
We're going to jump into some highlights here. And St. Francis had a great first drive to get on the board first. But then it was awesome to see you guys responded in kind and put together a really nice drive. And what a catch here by Braden Smith for the first score.
Yeah, I think that's for our offense when kind of kept responding every single time they scored, and that's it's a big part of being a team, because we needed it down the stretch there at the end of the game for the defense to respond. Then you see our special teams, and I think that was something we really had to learn and grow in after week one. And man, Coach Nightingale has gotten us right, and all the coaches and their units have gotten us ready to go, and it was a big factor in the ball game.
Yeah, Mon Clark has really come on for you guys in that return game, and he's a guy who can certainly make things happen for you. And then there's Devadny coming out of the backfield. Is that a look maybe other teams hadn't seen?
Yeah, no, it was really specific. It was just a great game plan call by Coach Terrazas. They're a cover one team, and so we knew we were going to get a linebacker matchup with them, and Devadny did a nice job of finishing the play.
Big play here that was called an incomplete pass. Could have been maybe 6 going the other way.
Yeah,
for the Wildcats.
I thought we had a chance at that. That's a tough call, but I thought that might have been a fumble.
Here was a series where this was a big play in the game. Obviously, the kind of the razzle dazzle along the goal line, but they had missed an extra point. Ben Von Gunten was 5 for 5 on the day, and you guys take your first lead.
Yeah, that was important. I mean, that's why we preach to our guys' effort on every single special teams, regardless what it is, because it can be the deciding factor in the ball game. And you see Ishmael Avila responded well, had a tough first couple series, and then just his effort and his juice off the line gave him some production there.
This was a really big play. I mean, love the call on third down to get it to Josh. We thought he had to score, but he stepped out of bounds. But kind of a tough finish to that drive.
Yeah, we have to. That's a championship moment that we've got to take advantage of. We've got to score going into halftime. But we did a good job. We came out of half, they go and score, and then the first play from scrimmage, we go and score just to kind of reset our nerves. And it was a great job by the offensive line and the offensive scheme that we had to get us back on the board and match what they had.
Once again, they go up by by the 6 points there, but a great drive put together here, and you were able to mix the run and the pass in together, and boy, Braden Smith was 7.
With the players that we have, with the talent that we have, even though we may be young, when you can be balanced and mix the run and the pass and not be able to key onto one thing, it's going to be really difficult to do. You have a guy, talent like Braden and talent like Zach Blair, quarterback. I mean, you've got to eventually pick your poison, and we made them do that, and they came up big.
There was a big conversion on the 4th down that kept that drive alive. You know, and then we talked about the defense giving up yards, but they did come up with big plays. I thought that was just outstanding coverage that time.
Josh Davidson is a really special athlete, and the kid is getting better and better each week. And we didn't love putting a linebacker on their number 80, but he stepped up and rose to the occasion in a big time.
Well, this, I don't know, maybe the play of the game in some regards.
Yeah.
Again, on 3rd and 10, that was a spectacular throw, and then the catch by Caleb Kelly. And then Devontae Alford finishes off the drive.
This was a championship moment we executed on. We extended got the defensive stop. We maintained the drive, made them punt, had a great punt by Van Gunten, and then we went down and scored, and then forced them to kick the ball back to us. And that was a big stop by the defense, and that's all part of a team win.
You know, that as much scoring as there was in the first 3 quarters, your defense held them pointless in the 4th quarter. You got the one score that counted in that 4th quarter.
Yeah, I think that, to have resiliency and to persevere, and we had a lot of opportunities. We could have played a lot better as a defense, and a lot of that was on us and our discipline. And for our kids to put it all together when it mattered most is a good sign of just perseverance and effort.
Well, it all came down to after the turnover, they had that field goal attempt that the wind just totally blew it off, of course, there. And then that had to feel pretty good.
Yeah, I felt really good. I mean, it was for a homecoming win, and for just a win versus a team of that caliber means a lot to this, should mean a lot to this institution, because of the way that our kids have responded and bought into what we're doing, and just haven't quit. And that's a big credit to those players and the resiliency they have and the love that they have for one another.
We talked about Devontae Alford on the ground, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns, the long run of 76. An amazing day from him. Despite the interception and the turnover, I thought Zach Blair still played awesome. He was 14 of 24, 243 yards. Just does a great job leading the team.
And he's a special talent, and he's accurate, and he has a big arm, makes good decisions. He made a couple bad ones there. But that's a good lesson for us to say, even when one of your best players isn't playing at his best in those moments, can we respond together as a team? That's exactly what we did.
Defensively, when it counted, I know Peyton Marksberry got the one big sack. He led you guys with 13 tackles on the day. He's flying all over the field.
Yeah, I mean, he leads us from an emotional perspective. He's out there, he has experience. Physically, he just plays so hard, and he's physical, and he brings a lot of spark to us. And I think our kids lead or follow his lead when it comes to that. And I think that the way his energy was a big momentum change for us.
Another crew that probably don't talk a lot about, but I think a lot of people were really impressed with their effort against a very good defense, very physical defense. The offensive line, a young group coming together, they acquitted themselves extremely well.
Well, with the amount of experience it takes typically for an offensive lineman to get to that a certain level, it just takes flat-out experience, and we obviously don't have that to us. We have young guys playing for us, and the amount that they've learned and grown at the pace they have is a credit to them, and it's a credit to Coach Moore and his tutelage with them. So we wouldn't be where we are right now if it wasn't for the growth and maturity of that O-line.
Well, now it's 4 weeks on the road, and you guys are going to get some new experiences on the road. It starts with Lawrence Tech next Saturday, but it's going to be different being away from home for a while.
Yeah, it is different, and like I've been saying, everything we've known is new, here at IW football, but it's something new. It's a new routine. There's new logistics. There's new environments, and can we now take our learning to a new condition, and can we get it done and have the ability to respond physically, mentally, emotionally in a new spot?
Well, Coach, again, congratulations on the big homecoming victory to you and your guys, your coaching staff. It was really a whale of a ball game.
That was awesome. Thanks.
All right. Well, as we said, Wildcat football will be back in action this Saturday. They'll be playing Lawrence Tech in Southfield, Michigan. That game is a noon start time. When we come back, women's soccer is making its way through the Crossroads League, so we'll talk to some of the outstanding players for the Lady Wildcats. Hey, welcome back to Wildcat Week. The women's soccer team is already halfway through their Crossroads League play, and they are having quite an amazing season to this point. Here to talk about all of that is Allie Castaneda and Alex Seabeck. So first, Allie, did I say your name right?
Yes.
I feel good about that. Why don't we start with you, Allie, and just maybe give us an idea of where your home is and what you're studying and a little bit about the position you play here.
Well, I'm from Granger, Indiana, but I currently live in Fort Wayne. I am an exercise science major studying PT, so I want to go to graduate school after this, and I play right back on the defensive line. Okay,
so I was going to ask you, a right back, that is a defensive player. And what is for, let's say, soccer for dummies, like, what would be maybe the key role that position is going to play on a team?
Mostly just protecting our keeper, like letting those shots in, and then definitely getting into the attack as, you know, our forwards helping runs into the box, getting crosses off. And
now, Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a goalkeeper, so we know kind of what you're supposed to do, but tell us about where you're from and what you're studying.
Yes, I'm from Fort Wayne originally. I also am exercise science with Allie, and I also want to go to PT school after graduation.
So being a keeper and you're the right back, you talk about protecting a goalkeeper. What kind of communication goes on? Is she yelling at you all the time, and in a nice way?
Yes,
I imagine.
It's say no offense, mean no offense. I listen to her because she sees the entire field, so I have to do what she tells me, and we communicate 100% of the time.
Well, that's key, isn't it, Alex? I mean, in any sport, the more a team is communicating, whether it's offense, defense, I mean, the better your chances of success and being able to execute what you want to execute.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. If there's no communication in soccer, everything breaks down, every single position breaks down. So without her, without my midfield, without my forward, we're all not successful unless we communicate together.
We're seeing a little bit of you, Alex, against the Spring Arbor. And for you guys, this was really a huge game because everyone, I think, who follows women's soccer in the Crossroads League knows that Spring Arbor not only has been a force in the league, but they're defending national champions and they ranked number one in the nation even right now. You guys, though, I think, feel like you put together a really good effort against that team. They got that early goal, but when you guys tied it up, I mean, it was back and forth, and I think, Allie, you were telling me, like, shots on goal were all even in that game, but I know you always want to win the game, but coming out of that game with a 2-1 loss, was it a confidence boost for you guys, or what was kind of the emotion after that?
Obviously, we want to win the game, but just knowing how well we played and we gave everything on the field, we weren't disappointed in our performance. I think everyone left it all out on the field, and unfortunately, we didn't get the result that we wanted, but it did give us confidence knowing that we can hang with the top teams in this nation, and we're going to make a good run in Crossroads this year.
And Allie, we see a little action of you there in that game, but the reality is, Alex, that you guys could be facing Spring Arbor again later this year. It could be coming down to you guys hopefully, let's say, in a conference tournament or something like that. So let me ask you about the St. Francis game. That was homecoming night. Now, one of the things I was curious about as a goalkeeper, I'm sure there's a lot of mental preparation for a game, but maybe like a half hour before the game started, I mean, it just poured, a torrential downpour and a thunderstorm, and it set back the start of the game, about half hour, 40 minutes. So any kind of adjustments you have to make there, or just kind of ride it out, or How did that affect you?
So one of the famous phrases on our teams is that you will sink to the level of your training. You'll never rise to the occasion, but you'll sink to the level of your training. So coach is so big on, like, we train in whatever conditions, if it's snowing, if it's hailing, if it's raining, so that we're ready, and that's not a mental block. As far as actual preparations, I just brought out 2 pairs of gloves, so the wet ones went away and the dry ones were for the game.
And kind of much like that Spring Arbor game, when they got out early, you guys jumped out quickly, got ahead. And as a keeper, I kind of feel or think that kind of helps you out, gives you confidence that we've got the lead. And then it's when you jump out with a 2-goal lead, that's a real confidence booster, I would imagine. Yeah,
it definitely helps just ease the team's nerves. But something that we've been really pressed into us the last 3 and 4 years is whether it's 0-0 or 1-0 or 2-0, you play as if it's 0-0 so that you continue to push and strive towards excellence till the last whistle.
Probably the last question I'll ask you, Allie, is you guys, like I said, you're 9-3 right now, 3-1 in the conference. Goals for this team? I know you'd love to win a conference championship, but what would the ultimate goal for this team be?
Ultimately, we want to win the national title. That would be the goal, to get to Alabama and win it all. But honestly, just having a good run this year for our seniors, giving them the best that we can possibly give them, because they deserve it. And it may not be getting to Alabama, but that's the dream.
Well, guys, again, congratulations on the win against St. Francis. I know coming up next, here's the thing, you've got, 5 games left in conference play, and the next team up is the Lancers of Grace College. What do we know about Grace College? Alice, can you tell us anything about them? Or?
Yeah, I mean, they're a gritty team. They always come out to play every single time we do, and it's always a battle. But I definitely have the confidence that all players, all 28, we're ready to go and we're ready to win. So.
Awesome. Well, thanks for stopping by, guys, and again, good luck. Good luck the rest of the way. We'll be watching. As we said, the ladies will be back in action this Wednesday, October the 10th, against the Lancers of Grace College. Game time is at 7 p.m. So when we come back, Mikala Woodfork will be bringing us the breakdown. We'll take a look at what sets IW football apart from the rest. Well, welcome back to Wildcat Week. We have so many sports competing on this campus. We usually don't have time to talk about all of them. So to bring us up to date in the 2-minute drill, we welcome back Mikala Woodfork with the breakdown.
Thanks, Roger. The Wildcats had another great week to kick off the month of October. The men's cross-country team won the Bethel Invitational on Friday, October the 5th. The Wildcats came in first with 26 points. Behind them was Taylor with 66 points, and then Aquinas with 72 points. The top finishers were Chris Maxson, who came in second place at 25 minutes and 28 seconds, Jesse Saxton in third at 25:38, and Jared Williams in fifth at 26 minutes flat. The women's team finished 13th out of 31 teams in that same tournament. The top finishers were Rebecca Groh at 19:12, Yvette Rojas at 19:27, and Christina Magers at 19:37. Women's golf took second out of 11 teams in the Taylor Invite. Taylor came in first at 6:03, the Wildcats behind them at 6:31, and in third place, St. Francis with 6:34. The top 3 Wildcat golfers were Shelly Schaefer with 152, McKenna Hostetler with 158, and Kayla Esposito with 158. Men's tennis took a tough loss to earn second place in the Crossroads League Tournament Championship. The Wildcats faced Marion, who is the number 2 seed, and lost 5-3. The top 3 singles for the Wildcats were Eli Steiner, Hunter Sylvester, and Grant Esposito. The ladies, however, were able to bring home another Crossroads League tournament title. They beat Marion 5-1, making this their 8th championship win in a row. The top 3 singles players were Lizzie Boss, Alex Mella, and Maddie Besmistifer. On both the men's and women's soccer teams, they were able to sweep St. Francis on Saturday. The men won 6-0, scoring 3 goals in the first half and 3 in the second, with Sammy Conti and Felipe Mendonca scoring 2 goals each. The women won 3-0, with freshman Lauren Turner scoring 2 of those goals and Tia Sanford scoring the third. Wildcat Volleyball got their 9th straight win of the season against Bethel on Saturday. The Wildcats had 45 kills, while Bethel only had 27 kills. Finally, what a nail-biting game at the Wildcat Stadium. The football team faced St. Francis and won by only 1 point. Leading 35-34, needing only a first down to run out the clock, the Wildcats fumbled at the 50-yard line with a little over 2 minutes left. This allowed St. Francis to move the ball to the 21-yard line. Then Peyton Marksberry was able to get a sack, which pushed USF to the 25-yard line with 3 seconds on the clock, forcing them to attempt a field goal. The kick went too far left, causing everybody in the Wildcat Stadium to celebrate the win. Man, what an exciting way to end homecoming. Well, that's all I have for you this week for the breakdown. Back to you, Roger.
Well, thanks so much, Mikala. We look forward to the breakdown each and every week. Well, now playing football for Indiana Wesleyan University goes beyond dedication on the field and even in the classroom. Silas Weghorst took a look at how these athletes make time for the most important things.
Wildcat football is more than a team. They're a family. While football might have brought them to Indiana Wesleyan, their faith brought them together.
One of the beautiful things about this program and university is that we have guys who come from Christian homes and also guys who don't come from Christian homes. So it's been really cool for us to be able to sit down and sit down my D lineman in my living room and just say, hey, what are you guys struggling with? Hey, this is my faith walk. This is what I was like in college, and be able to have those conversations of this is what a Christian man looks like. This is what a Christian husband looks like.
And these coaches are mentors for us. They're spiritual leaders, and they're friends, honestly. Like, we can go to them with anything because they've been through what we're going through.
But it's not just coaches leading the team spiritually.
So that's been really exciting to start to see our own players really start to lead that call to start their own groups and start to delve into the scriptures together.
The team had already been practicing, and 2 guys on the team came up to me and said, hey, we'd like to do a Bible study.
We ended up talking about it late last spring, and we're like, let's actually make this happen. Like, this actually sounds sweet.
So we decided, let's do it Thursday night. We call it Thursday Night Football. And we come together, we eat, we go through a whole section of Scripture, and then we can just sit down and talk. And if the game's playing on the background, great. If not, who cares?
That was all it took to bring over a dozen players together every Thursday night.
What I like about this kind of Bible study with this group of people is the fun that we have. These guys come together and they encourage one another, and they do what the team does, and that's have each other's back. And I think that's been pretty amazing, that when you take that and you put in the context and the perspective of who Christ is, it just makes it so much better, because the ultimate team that exists in the world is the church.
Guys are fired up about it, and I think it's what makes a difference about our team. I mean, we're playing for something greater than ourselves, greater than each other. We're playing for God, and that's really special, and I think that's been a huge part of the season so far.
Whether it's Thursday night small groups or game day victories, God is continually the focus of Wildcat football. For Wildcat Countdown, I'm Silas Weghorst.
Well, thank you so much, Silas. Well, that is all we have for you on this week of Wildcat Week. And there's nothing going. I don't have. There we go. Should we start that over?
Yeah, go ahead right there.
Okay. Here we go. Well, that's all we have for you on this episode of Wildcat Week. If you'd like to watch more Wildcat Week, you can visit our website at wiwtv.com. There you can watch past episodes and connect with us online. Again, that's wiwtv.com. And you can stay connected with all our local programming by subscribing to our YouTube channel. That's WIWTV 51. Well, we look forward to seeing you next week. So for all of us here, thanks for watching Wildcat.